real names when I talk about what you're saying in chat, because we don't like to talk about real names. We like to talk about usernames, or rather whatever username that you like to choose. All right, so we're live now, and we can find ourselves over at youtube.com over here. So let me grab that link. So if you want to take a look at the live stream, you can do it over here. And I'll just paste that to all the places. Okay, so let's learn about web app hacking. So over here. All right, so this is Hacker Frogs After School Over the Wire. We're taking a look at the Natas challenge. This is part 2. This is the second workshop in our Intro to Web App Hacking course. Let's take a few moments to review the concepts we learned in the previous workshop. So we took a look at directory indexing, sometimes called directory listing. And directory indexing is a vulnerability on websites that allows users to see the file contents of web directories, which can lead to sensitive data exposed to arbitrary website visitors. So sometimes the directories on these websites, they're open, which means that anybody can take a look at the entirety of what's inside the directory. This is a big web security no-no. We also learned about robots.txt. Robots.txt is a special file included on certain websites that indicate which files on the site can and cannot be indexed by the search engines, so otherwise known as search engine robots. It can be abused to point malicious users to sensitive parts of the website, so that's robots.txt. So we're going to continue where we left off with the natas.ctf game at the following URL, which is natas4.natas.labs.overthewire.org. So let me grab that URL. So it's natas4. And this is going to ask us for a username and a password. So let me get the link for everybody. And we also have our session notes over here. So if you want to take a look at all the different things that we're looking at today, you're going to want to look at the session notes file that I just linked to everybody. It should say at the end there session02.md. And we see here that there's inside the GitHub file over here, there are the username and passwords for these Natas levels. So we've got Natas4, the username is Natas4, and the password is this. So go ahead and go to the session02.md page, and down below Natas level 4, there's the password. I would like you to copy that password and then go over to the Natas 4 page over here and put in the username Natas4 and the password. You paste in the password that you just copied from the other GitHub page. Then click on sign in. Okay, so everybody, if you're able to see this page here, it says access disallowed. It says Natas4 over here. If you've managed to successfully log into that page, please type in the chat Natas4 smiley face. If you're having trouble logging into the page, please let us know that you're having trouble and we'll try to help you out. Once again, the passwords are going to be on this GitHub page. And on the GitHub page, scroll down to Natas level 4, and the password is going to be here. Just copy it. And then go over to the Natas level 4 page and log in. All right, so once again, if you're having trouble logging in, please let us know in the chat and we'll try to help you out. But let's take a look at what's going on this page. So it says on the page, access disallowed. You are visiting from this right here. This is known as an empty string, which means that it's basically blank, while authorized users should come only from this URL over here. So does anybody know what this could be referring to? And oh, I see that user D has arrived in the Zoom call. And user D, might I remind you, we're doing some web app security exercises. Please use your Brave browser, because it seems that I remember that your other browser was having trouble accessing HTTP source. So please use the Brave browser, user D. All right. So we see here, access disallowed, you're visiting from blank, while authorized users should only come from http://natus5.natus.labs.overthewire.org. If anybody knows what this is referring to, please type it in the chat. And let me get user D caught up to everybody else. So what we're doing is we're accessing Natus level 4, and in the GitHub link right over here, there's the link for Natus level 4 here, the username and the password. So please log into Natus level 4 with this username and this password over here. Okay. So everybody, I think nobody here is familiar with what the page is talking about. So I'm just going to talk about what we're going to be talking about today. And we're going to be talking about this topic right here. It's called HTTP headers. So what is this? Each time a web browser accesses a web page, the browser makes an HTTP request to the server that hosts the page. So the web browser has to make a request to the server, and then the server is going to send back the information that has the web page. In each HTTP request, several headers and their values are passed along to the server to ensure that the browser and server can communicate properly. So some examples of HTTP headers and what info they provide to the web server are these ones over here. So there's the host header, the user agent header, and the accept header. The host header is going to indicate the website that is being contacted, for example, natus4.overthewire.org. The user agent header is going to be the type of browser that is making the request, for example, the Chrome browser or the Firefox browser, etc. And the accept header over here is going to be the type of data that should be sent in response to your request. For example, we could have the accept header as */*, which is any type of data. So what does this actually look like? We can take a look over. So I'm using Kali Linux, which is a type of cybersecurity distribution of Linux. So what I can do is I can use this command right here. So curl is the command that we can use to retrieve web pages from the terminal. And I'm going to retrieve, let's just say I retrieve example.com. So let me just, so HTTP example.com. So I send this request over here. And when I send the request, I'm sending a bunch of different headers over here. So the host header, we've got our IP addresses, we have our user agent, which is the type of browser that we're using. So in this case, we're using the curl program. What kind of data we're going to accept, which in this case is anything, which is ***. So we also get, so after this is our HTTP response. So the server sends us a response. It says, okay, 200 means okay, and it's going to send us a bunch of different headers in response. Let's talk a little bit more about that. Okay, so please keep in mind that because HTTP headers can be modified by the user before being sent, that means that the values of any HTTP headers could be spoofed. So when we say spoofed, we means we could falsify it, or we could modify it, although default web browser behavior doesn't allow this. Particle to Do in Twitch says, hello, Particle to Do, nice to see you. We're just doing our web app security class. This is session number 2, and we're learning about HTTP headers today. So what we're referring to in this particular Nadas challenge is we're talking about a special HTTP header that's called the refer header. The HTTP refer header, which is misspelled on purpose for some reason, contains the value of a complete or partial address of the web page that is making the request. So basically, the refer header tells the website what page we're coming from to arrive at this website. So this allows the web page to identify which web page users are visiting it from. The data from this header can be useful for analytics and logging, etc. However, some developers attempt to use the value of the refer header as a type of security mechanism for which it was not designed. So we just talked about the curl program, and we can use the curl program to send custom headers to websites. So the curl program is a command line interfaced app that is common to all major computer operating systems. So everybody in the Zoom call, can you tell me what kind of computer you're using? Are you using Windows or are you using Mac? So if you're using Windows, type Windows in the chat, and if you're using Mac, please type Mac. Okay, so I see some people, they say that they're using Macs, okay. All right, so to the people who, I think we're going to be using our terminal today. So if you don't know how to open up your terminal in your computer, please let us know in the chat. And also, Particle to Do is using Windows. Thank you very much. Okay, so usually if you're using Windows, you would go down to the search bar and you would type in the word CMD. I think in Mac, you can go to your Finder and type in the word terminal and hit enter, and you should be able to open up a terminal. So your terminal is going to look something like this. Let me make this smaller. Something like this. And in the terminal, if you're using Windows, it's going to say Microsoft Windows when you open it up. And if you're using Mac, I'm not sure what it says when you use a Mac terminal. But the Mac terminal, I think you can... Let me ask ChatGPT real quick. So, how do you open the terminal in Mac OS? Okay, so you can press Command and space to open Spotlight, type in the word terminal, and press return. So if you have your terminal open, please type in the chat, terminal open, smiley face. And if you're having trouble, please let us know as well. So we can do... So on Mac OS as well as Windows, you all have the curl program. So you can do curl-vv for very verbose output, and then you can do example.com, and that's going to get you the contents of the example.com website. Once again, if you're having trouble, please let us know in the chat, and we'll try to help you out. So the curl command is a command line interface program that is common to all major computer operating systems. So the program allows for access to web pages from the CLI. So CLI means command line interface, but only returns text such as HTML code. So you can get the text from the website, but you won't be able to see any of the graphics. This app allows for modification of various HTTP variables, which normal web browsers are not capable of unless modified. So we're going to use a special curl command to access the website. And so we've got curl, which is the command itself. Number 2, we've got the -v, which stands for very verbose output. This is a switch. And we've got a header argument over here, -h. And we're going to give a refer to, well, actually, let's just do the regular access first. So over at the GitHub page, so let me copy this and provide it to everybody here, just in case you misplaced it. You can go down to Natus level 4, and you can look at the curl command over here. So the curl command, what I want you to do is just copy the curl command right here, and then go over to your terminal. In your terminal, I want you to paste in the command. So just right-click. So in Windows, you just right-click and it's going to paste it in for you. But I think in Mac OS, you can right-click and paste it in as well. If you can't paste it in that way, try using the keyboard shortcut Control-Shift-V to paste it in. Once again, if you're having trouble, please let us know in the chat and we'll try to help you out. So we see here we've got a curl command. It's very verbose. And here we're supplying a user. So the user is going to be natus4 with this password. This is what this part of the command is doing. And then the last thing that we provide is the name of the website we want to access, which is http natus4 natuslabs.overthewire.org. So after you've pasted in the command, you can hit enter to enter the command. You can hit enter. Okay. It didn't want to go for some reason. All right, so when we send the command, we see that we've got all of our HTTP headers that we're sending, such as host, authorization, user agent, accept. And we see the response over here, HTTP 200 OK, and then along with the date and the server and the content length. And this is basically all of the web page code that is sent back to us. So we get the same message over here. Access disallowed. You're visiting from empty string, while authorized users should come only from this URL right here. So what we can do is we can actually use curl to give this particular HTTP header that the web page wants. So it wants refer is this website right here. So we can go back to our GitHub page, and on our GitHub page, we can give the solution command over here. So the solution command is curl, and this is the same kind of curl command that we gave in the last command, except it has one extra feature, which is this -H and then refer. So this is going to give an extra header to this request, which is refer and natus.5.labs.overthewire.org. This is what the website wants. And then finally, we refer to the web page that we want to access, which is natus4. So just copy that, then go back to your terminal. In the terminal, paste in the command. Okay, let me do this one more time. Copy it, and then go to your terminal. Then paste in the command over here. So this is the same as the last command, only we're giving a header. Okay, and then hit enter to run the command. Okay, so we see here in the, if we scroll up, we see that among the different headers that we supplied to the website, we also supplied this refer header. So the refer is this website right here, natis5.natis.labs.overthewire.org. So this is what the website wanted. If we scroll down, we see this message. Access granted. The password for Natis5 is this. So all we need to do to go to the next level is copy this text, and then go over to your web browser, then adjust the address so that it says Natis5 instead of Natis4. The username is going to be Natis4. Oh no, it's going to be Natis5. And the password is going to be the password you just got. So just paste it in and click on sign in. Okay, so everybody, if you manage to log into Natis5 and you see this message, access disallowed, please type in the chat, I got into Natis5, smiley face. And once again, if you're having trouble, please let us know in the chat and we'll try to help you out. Okay, great. All right, so we can keep on going. Okay, so before we start talking about the next topic, let's take a look at the Natis5 website. So it says access disallowed. You are not logged in. So does anybody here know what we need to get from a web server before we can log into a website? So in order to log into a website, we need a certain thing in our web browser, or we need to send a certain thing with our HTTP request. Does anybody know what we need to send with our request to log into a website? So the message we get is access disallowed. You are not logged in. Particle to do says a post request. So we usually make a post request to do a login. That is correct. But we need to get a certain thing from the web server before we're actually logged into a website. And let me explain. So we're talking about HTTP cookies, or otherwise known as HTTP cookie headers. So another extremely common HTTP header is the cookie header, which is used to retain user settings or establish or maintain a user session on a website. So you might have heard a lot of different things about cookies and whether or not cookies are tracking you, or cookies they stay around forever, or you're supposed to clear your cookies. But we're talking about these cookies, and the cookies basically are little bits of information that you can send along with your HTTP requests in order to get some special interactions with websites. So for example, a website has a button on it, and it's got user preferences. There's a user preference page where you can set the web page background for that website. So maybe there's a page where you can set your background to blue or yellow or red, and after you click on one of those colors, the server is going to send you a cookie that's going to remember what color that you selected. And each time you make a request to that website, you're going to send that cookie, and that's going to keep the background color on the website the same because you selected it. Once the color is selected, the web server will send a cookie to the web browser to be used anytime the website is visited, changing the website's background colors to whatever is specified in the cookie. So similarly, when a user successfully logs into a website, the web server will send the web browser a cookie that identifies which user session is being used, and the browser will use that cookie each time the website is accessed. So say you log into Facebook or Gmail. So each time you make a request, after you've logged in, each time you send a request to Facebook or Gmail, you're going to send that cookie along with your request so that the web server remembers which user you are, and it's going to send you different information depending on which cookie you send it. Any cookie that is used for user sessions has the potential for security abuse. So it's important that the cookie values created for user sessions are not predictable at all. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about how we can modify cookies. And we actually don't need to use the CLI to modify cookies. You can access cookies from your web browser. So if you go over to Natus Level 5, you're going to see that in your web browser, there are certain developer tools that you can access. So I'm using Firefox. It might be slightly different for whatever browser you're using, but there should be a button in the corner. And when you click on the button, so it might look like, so this is what is called a hamburger button over here. It's basically a button that opens up a little menu, and you can scroll down, and there's going to be something that might say something like more tools. You can click on that, and you might see something that says web developer tools. So you want to click on that button. We're going to cancel. Okay. All right, so if you manage to successfully open up your web developer tools, please type in the chat, I got the tools. So another thing you could try is you could also use the F12 button on your keyboard. If your keyboard has a bunch of F keys at the top of the keyboard, you can press the F12 button, and that should open up your developer tools as well. There should be a keyboard shortcut. If you're having trouble opening up the tools, please let us know, and please let us know which browser you're using, and we can help you open up the developer tools. Opera GX. Okay, so one user is using Opera GX, and let's ask ChatGPT, what is the keyboard shortcut for developer tools in Opera GX? Okay, so it should be Command Option I. So the Command key, the Option key, and the I key. So I think your user BD says that they're using Opera GX, and I think they're also on a Mac. So you would do Command Option I. So go ahead and try that keyboard shortcut. If you're still having trouble, please let us know. Okay, so user BD says it worked, great. All right, so afterwards, there's going to be a bunch of different tabs over here. What I want you to do is I want you to navigate over to the storage tab. So there's going to be a bunch of tabs, inspector, console, debugger, etc., etc. There should be one labeled storage. I want you to click on that tab. And so sometimes the developer tools are not going to be on the bottom of the screen. They might be on the left side or the right side. Either way, I want you to locate the storage tab and click on it. And then you're going to see something open up like this. So there's going to be a tab called cache storage, one called cookies, one called something else, local storage, session storage. I want you to click on the one called cookies, and then I want you to click on the website, which is Natus 5. Just click on that, and you should see some different cookies inside. So the cookies are going to say there's going to be one called _G, and then another one called _G, and there's going to be one called logged in. So if you see the logged in cookie over here, I want you to first click on the row over here, and then double click on the value. So the value over here is 0. So 0, does anybody remember from Python? So we did a Python class. 0 and 1 have special meanings. What does 0 mean in programmer speak? And what does 1 mean in programmer speak? Do you remember? Okay, so user particle to from Twitch says true and false. So the numbers 0 and 1 also correspond to the words false and true, respectively. So 0 is false and 1 is true. So if we see a logged in cookie and the value is 0, that means logged in equals false. So what can we do to this value? So we can modify the value. So what value is going to let us log in to the website? So value is 0. We can modify the value and we can log into the website. But which value do we need to modify this to? Okay, so user particle to do also says that we should switch this to 1. So we can double click on the value inside the web developer tools and we can modify the value from 0 to 1. So just double click on the little cell over here and then modify this from 0 to 1, hit enter. And then this means that the value has changed. The cookie value changed. All we need to do to see the effect is to reload the page. So usually there's a button over here called reload the page. There's a keyboard shortcut, it's Control R. Hit the reload button and then we get access to the web page because we changed the cookie and we have a valid cookie now. It says access granted. The password for Nata 6 is this over here. So this isn't the end of this level. We're going to demonstrate how we can do this with the curl command. So back over at GitHub, and remember GitHub is over here. So underneath Natus level 5, we've got our curl command. So just copy the curl command. So this is the curl command, not the solution command. So just copy that and then go over to your terminal. In the terminal, paste in your command and then hit enter to run the command. So this is the same as the curl command for the last level. We're supplying a username over here. This time it's user natus5 along with the password, and we're accessing Natus level 5. So hit enter. And it says access disallowed, you're not logged in. If we go up to the top, we see here these are the HTTP headers that we send with the request. But in response, we get these. So HTTP 200 OK, the date, the server. It also gives us a cookie. So it says set cookie logged in equals 0. So a cookie is given to us and we see that logged in equals 0. So what we can do to get access is we can send our own request, but with a cookie with logged in equals 1. And we can do that with the other command in GitHub over here, which is the solution command. So just grab it and copy it. So how is this command different? So the difference is we're supplying a cookie along with our request in this command. So it's -- cookie and then the value of the cookie between the quotes over here, which is logged in equals 1. So just copy that. Then go over to your terminal. In the terminal, it didn't copy. Let me grab that again. Why doesn't it want to copy? Copy it, copy it, copy it. Okay. So we've pasted in our command. Cookie is set to logged in equals 1, which is true. Hit enter. And then this time, access granted, the password for Nata 6 is this. Remember that in our request over here, we supplied a cookie, which is cookie logged in equals 1. So we can finish the level. So to finish the level, just copy the password over here and then go over to Natus level 5 and log in to Natus level 6. So just adjust the address over here, supply the username Natus 6, and paste in the password. Then click sign in, and you should see Natus level 6. So it should say Natus 6 and then input secret. So if you manage to finish and log into Natus level 6, please type in the chat, Natus 6, I'm in, smiley face. So once again, if you're having troubles, please let us know, and we'll try to help you out. Particle Dudu says, I'm in, and I finished level 7 also. Well, you're getting ahead of the class. Okay. Let's see. User D says it won't let me sign in. So which are you talking about? Natus level 6? So if you have the right password, why don't you try, well, you remember you have to put in the username Natus 6. So try it again, Natus 6, and then paste in the password, and let us know if you're able to log in. No, didn't work? Okay. So why don't you do this? So go back to Natus level 5, and Natus level 5 just... So if on Natus level 5 you already have this message, then you can copy the password and then go over to Natus level 6. If you don't, remember you can go over to the developer tools. In the developer tools, click on storage, click on Natus 5, make sure that your logged in cookie is set to 1, and then reload the page, and you should be able to get the password. Okay. All right, so it worked. Great, great. All right, so the last couple of things we're going to do for this class is we're going to do some picoctf challenges. So remember, well, I really like picoctf because it's free and it's got all these challenges on it. Let's go over to picoctf and log in. So I'm not logged in for some reason. I guess I need to supply my username and password. Let me grab that. And everybody, if you could log into picoctf, that would be great. Okay, so once you're at the picoctf page, please click on the practice button, and it'll bring you to the practice page where you can get access to all the challenges. So over in GitHub, we've got last session's exercises. Oh no, these are not last session's exercises. These are this session's exercises. So we've got 3 challenges that we can do today, and the first one is called cookies. So let's do the cookies challenge. After you've logged into picoctf, please go to this page. So this is cookies. It's the description says, "Who doesn't love cookies? Try and figure out the best one." So we've got the challenge website over here, and I think we don't need to necessarily log into picoctf to access this this web page. So please access this web page after you finished logging in and going to the challenge. And we see this website over here that's called Cookies. Welcome to my cookies search page. See how much I like different kinds of cookies. All right, so the first thing we see here is that there's a user input field over here, and we can type in some user input. So for example, what kind of cookies do we like? Does anybody have a type of cookie they like? You can go ahead and type in the chat. I'm going to say chocolate chip. That's a classic. Let's search for that one. And it says, I love chocolate chip cookies. And the message over here says, that is a cookie, not very special though. So once again, we know that this challenge is called Cookies. So what we can do is we can go back to the developer tools and look for the cookie on this page. So remember, we can use what was it? Control Option. So if you're on Opera GX, you can do Command Option I to open up that developer tools. There are different keyboard shortcuts depending on which browser you're using. So I think if you're using a keyboard with the F keys on the top, you can do F12 to open up developer tools. You can also go over to the side menu in the corner over here and click on that, then click on More Tools and click on Web Developer Tools. So once there, you can go over to the Storage tab, and in the Storage tab, there's the Cookies option over here, then click on the website. So the website here just has one cookie, and the cookie is called name, and the value is currently set to 1. So the cookie value here is set to 1, but in this case, 1 doesn't necessarily mean true. It just means a certain type of cookie. So I think they've given each type of cookie a number value. So we can play around with this, and we can set the cookie value to 0 and see what message we get after we reload the page. It says, I love snickerdoodle cookies. Okay. And then adjust this value again to 2 and reload the page. And it says, I love oatmeal raisin cookies. So here we've got each time we adjust the cookie value to a new number, it's going to give us a new message with a different type of cookie. So everybody, you can go ahead and try cycling through some different numbers to get the flag. But in the meantime, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to do this in curl. So I'm just going to grab this website over here, and then I'm going to go over to my terminal. So in the terminal, I'm going to use the curl command, which -v, and then paste in the address over here. Okay, so let's see. It gives us a cookie over here. We have to supply our own cookie. So in the cookie, in the command, we're going to give --cookie, and --cookie equals something. Inside the quotes, the name of the cookie is name, and that's going to be equal to 1. So if we give this command, curl --cookie equals, actually, we don't need the equals here. We're just going to give it a space. Cookie name equals 1. Oh, it's redirecting me. Failed to open cookie. I think I might have done this incorrectly. Hold on. --cookie. No, this is how we should be doing it. Oh, it's -1. Anyways, add cookie session, set cookie session over here. Anyways, let's go back to the cookies over here. So has anybody here figured out which cookie that you want to use? So I'm gonna spoil everybody, and the cookie value we're actually looking for is all the way up to cookie number 18. So if we set the cookie to value 18 and then we reload the page, then we get the flag. So picoctf, everybody loves cookies. So go ahead and in your browser set the cookie value to the number 18 and then reload the page. You should be able to get the flag. You should be able to get the flag, copy it, then go over to the picoctf challenge, paste in the flag, click on submit flag, and then you're done. All right, so everybody, if you managed to solve the challenge, please type in the chat, cookie monster, smiley face. In the meantime, let me try to figure out what I did wrong on. So I think I'm going to change. So this is still redirecting me. I think we need to follow the redirect. Okay, so we've got some cookie monsters in chat. Great to see. All right, we're going to do one more challenge before we finish off today's class. So the challenge is going to be the log on challenge. Okay. So everybody, please navigate to the log on challenge over here. User Hyperion RL in Twitch chat says, hello, you should set the cookie value as name equals -1 and not name colon. Oh, okay. Let me try that real quick. So name equals -1. Oh, okay. Yeah, that seems to have worked. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Hyperion RL. All right, so let's go over to the challenge over here. And the challenge is called log on. So it says here that the factory is hiding things from all of its users. Can you log in as Joe and find what they've been looking at? Okay, so we've got a link over here, and this is going to link to the web page where you're supposed to look at. So everybody, you can go to this page. You can go to this page, and then let's try to solve the challenge. Okay, so we have some sort of login page over here. Does anybody know how we can test this page? So, for example, we don't know the username or the password. What are we supposed to do to test the page? Does anybody have a suggestion? User BD says page source. Okay, we could do page source. Particle Doodoo from Twitch chat says default credentials or SQL injection. Okay, so we could try default credentials. So usually on a login page, you could try something like admin or admin password, And these are default credentials, which are the ones that are set by the software when it's being set up. And then click on sign in. So it says here, success, you've logged in. Not sure you'll be able to see the flag though. So we managed to log in. That wasn't very hard. The question is, how do we see the flag? Does anybody know how we could potentially see the flag if it's not sure that we're going to be able to see the flag? We could try looking at source code. That's correct. And thank you very much for following on Twitch, Hyperion RL. And thank you for the suggestion with the curl command. All right, so we could try using the page source. So remember, we could use a keyboard shortcut or we could use right-click. Either one is going to be fine. If we view the page source over here, success, you've logged in. Not sure you'll be able to see the flag. So if we take a look at the code over here, so in the code, we don't know, it actually doesn't show us the flag. The question is why? So if you remember what we've been talking about all this time, that might be the clue to get us the flag. So what have we been talking about for the last couple of challenges? It's a hint, it's something delicious and something you can hold in your hand. We're talking about cookies, that's correct. That's correct. Okay, so let's take a look at the cookies for this page. So if we take a look at our developer tools, remember it's in storage and then cookies, and then click on the website. We see here that there is a bunch of cookies actually. So this is a cookie, these are all cookies, but we see there's one cookie in here that's very important. Does anybody see what that cookie could be? And Hyperion RL also says, oh wow, plain text stored password. Yeah, that's a very secure thing to do. But there's one thing that we should adjust in order to see some extra information. So what is the cookie? So the cookie is actually this one over here, and it's the admin cookie. So the admin cookie over here, it is set to false. So what is the opposite of false? We can set it to true. So true with the capital T, I think it matters in this case. So after you've done that, hit enter, and then reload the page. And then we see this message. So the flag over here is picoctf. The conspiracy lives. So this is just the beginning of taking a look at web app security challenges. And this is actually, if you get good at web app security, then you can probably get a job doing testing the security of different web pages. But picoctf is actually a great place to start learning about this stuff. So after you've copied the flag, go over to the login description page, the challenge page, and then paste in the flag and click on submit flag, and then you're done. So Particle to Do says, really? Well, if you know how to do web pen testing, web app security testing, I know a few different companies you could apply to and get a job right now. But you have to know about all sorts of different web app vulnerabilities to qualify. Anyways, let's finish out today's lesson, and then we can finish the class. What was I saying? No. Let's do a summary of what we learned in today's class, and then we can finish the session, okay? All right, so over here. Okay, but before that, let's talk a little bit about these HTTP methods. So we've been using a lot of the same HTTP method today. All HTTP requests are made with an HTTP method, sometimes called an HTTP verb. Web pages send the browser different content depending on which HTTP method is used. So the most common HTTP methods are the get and post methods. So you use the get method when you try to get the contents of web pages, and you use the post method when you're sending something to the web server. So there are a bunch of different HTTP request methods: the get method, the post method, put, delete, patch, head, options trace. You don't necessarily need to know what all these things do right now. Just know that they're a bunch of different actions. So you can think of these methods as a verb or an action that you want to do with the web server. For example, the get action or method, the post action or method, that kind of thing. So let's review the web exploitation concepts we learned in today's workshop. So the HTTP referrer header. The HTTP referrer header, which is misspelled on purpose, contains the value of a complete or partial address of the web page that is making the request. It is often used for analytics or logging. The HTTP referrer header is occasionally used by web app developers as a security mechanism, but this is not a good practice as it was never intended to be used in such a way. We also talked about HTTP cookies, and they're commonly used as a security mechanism that allows users to maintain an authenticated user session on a website. So if the web server sends you a cookie, you can, after you've logged in, you basically use that cookie each time you interact with the website to let the web server know which user session you're using. In short, HTTP cookies allow users to log into websites. But since cookie values can be modified by the user, proper care should be taken to ensure that valid cookie values are not predictable or easily guessed. So I want you to take a look at, the factory login over here. Let's take a look at these cookies. So cookie values should be like this. So the cookie values should be a bunch of numbers and letters that you can't guess, and not something like admin equals true. Just for reference. Okay, so what's next? In the next Hacker Frogs After School web app hacking workshop, we're going to be learning more web app hacking skills with the NATA-CTF. Okay, so everybody, so for the live stream, we're going to be ending off with the people in the Zoom call, the students over there. But what we're going to be doing next is we're going to be doing some hacking exercises. But let me take a little break to finish off the session with the Zoom call students. Okay, we'll be back in a couple of minutes, and then we'll do some hacking exercises then. But until then, enjoy the break.